welcome to the Springfield Township Board of Trustees regular meeting. It is Tuesday, April 12th, 2022 at approximately 5:30 p.m. Mr. Burning, can we please have a roll call?
Yes, Mr. Burning?
Present.
Mr. Honolaw?
Present.
Ms. Davis?
Present.
All the trustees are present.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. I'd like to ask each of you to stand while we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have minutes for approval from the regular session on March 8th, 2022, and minutes from a regular work session from March 22nd, 2022. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Burning, may we please have a financial report?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Davis. For the month ending March 31st, 2022, the township expenditures were $2,106,602.74, and receipts were $9,022,258.75. That gives us an ending cash balance of $29,587,919.09, including in the obligations for expenditures, payroll, regular operating costs, ongoing capital improvement projects, and investments. What I request is a motion to approve receipts, warrants, payroll expenditures, updated and current revenue for the report ending March 31st, 2022. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And everyone, financial reports are available for viewing at the administration offices during regular business hours or on our website 24/7. Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Burning. Mr. Gilbert, would you please give us your report on departmental action and discussion items?
I will. Thank you, Ms. Davis. First of all, we have several action items, the first of which being our property and casualty insurance renewal. As the board is aware, every April we look to renew our property and liability insurance. And this year I'm pleased to report that we have a very modest increase in our rate of just under 3%, 2.9% to be exact. So the premium is going from a total of all costs involved from $234,974 to $241,851. And keep in mind that that is with a pretty robust expenditure from last year. We had several claims that required our insurance provider to pay out. In addition, we do have additional property that we added on this year that's being covered. So just, about a $7,000 increase on a policy that large, I think is very modest and well within, actually lower than industry standards at this point. So what I would ask, if the board is okay with that, is to authorize me to execute an agreement with the Ohio plan to renew our property and liability insurance for 2022.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have a canine agreement with Officer Zach Davis. These are customary agreements that we have with all of our canine officers. This is a new canine that I believe we received through the Haverkamp Foundation, correct?
Yes, we did.
And Officer Davis is new to the canine role. And what's the dog's name?
Dog's name is Zabo.
Zabo. So it is our second active dog at this point, correct?
Correct.
So I would just ask the board to approve the canine officer agreement with Officer Zach Davis.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, the board is well aware of our 2022 road resurfacing program. I would ask for a motion to authorize or approve the bid of Atleta Construction in the amount of $4,626,521.72, and that will rehabilitate 24 streets, which is just under 5 miles of new curb and paving in the township.
So moved. Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
One discussion item other than the personnel update is, as the board is aware, every but not every June, but I think the last agreement was a 24-month agreement. Our current natural gas agreement expires in June. And as we look at the market, which is very volatile at this point, this is for our township aggregation program, obviously. In dealing with our consultants, they've indicated that it may be beneficial, given the current state of the market, to allow customers to go back to Duke Energy, because Duke has an ability, unlike the aggregators, to fluctuate their natural gas prices through the summer months and then increase them in the winter. So our residents benefit from the aggregation program, obviously, in the winter months. So there is some consideration and some discussion involving not renewing and letting our natural gas agreement expire in June and having all the township customers go back to Duke for the summer months, and then look to create a new contract sometime in October with the idea that the market will stabilize and we'll be able to lock in a better price through the winter month and maybe for another 24-month term. That hasn't been decided just yet, but the hope was that we'd be able to lock in a rate lower than what Duke would have, and that just doesn't appear that that's going to happen. So instead of subjecting our residents to being locked into a price when we know the market isn't ideal at this point in time, is to just let the program go into remission, for the lack of a better explanation, and then pick it back up again sometime in October. Now, it will cause some confusion because residents will go back to Duke, they'll get a letter from Duke, but we'll have to explain all that publicly and put it out as much as we can through letters to all of our aggregation customers.
The one thing, other than on your bill, you're still going to get the same bill from Duke every month, and it may say there's a different, there'll be a different name down as the provider of the gas, but it won't be like you're getting a new bill from a new entity or anything like that.
No, not at all. I mean, the only difference between what's happening, what we typically do, which is we just renew with a particular aggregate energy supplier. But in this case, we're thinking maybe it may be best just to let people go back to Duke for a few months, because again, Duke has a different ability to be able to, they change their prices depending on the season, is essentially what they do.
Yeah.
So through the summer months, the rate's going to be low, and residents aren't using much gas through the summer anyway, so the idea is to pick it back up again in the fall. But more will come. Still having conversation with our consultant to see.
Right, it depends on, what rates come available over the next, between now and October. If something comes up where we can get a good rate, I mean, right now, our residents are paying about 55-60% of what Duke people on the Duke program.
Right.
So for gas, it's significantly cheaper right now because we locked in long-term. So we don't want to lock in right now while rates are high, when we can wait a few months and wait till things kind of calm down and the rate comes down a little bit, and then we can lock in for a longer period of time.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense to wait.
Yeah.
Is some of this volatility over the Ukraine war?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, some of it is.
Yeah.
But generally what happens is you see natural gas commodities kind of follow crude oil commodities in some ways.
Right.
But there's a lot of variables involved in it at this point,
Right.
a lot of which is capacity and storage and all kinds of things. So
Okay.
So what if the market doesn't stabilize?
in the fall?
Yeah, because I've heard some of the economists talking that, the country may be heading towards recession.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, clearly, here's the beautiful part about it. No matter what price we select and we lock in, residents always have the option to opt out whenever they want at no cost. But at the same time, remember that whatever the market does, Duke is going to be subject to that as well, because Duke is not a natural gas creator. They generate electricity, but not natural gas. It's a pass-through cost for them. So they're going to be held to the same sort of market conditions that we will. The difference is that we'll be able to lock in a price, whereas Duke, given their regulations, they're not able to be as nimble. So possibly late in the summer, early fall, we may be able to lock in a price that will compete and possibly beat Duke's price through the winter.
We hate to see the current contract come to an end because we have been buying gas substantially less than Duke's price. And it's saved, saved millions of dollars for all the customers in the,
I mean,
collectively. For
township-wide,
the
right?
township-wide, yeah. So it's, but all good things come to an end eventually. So
Well, I mean,
hopefully we'll get a better, get a good rate. this
yeah,
fall.
we're not interested in just, continuing with a program that isn't going to provide the savings. So if we have to wait a few months, then that's what we'll do.
Yeah, the whole idea of the aggregation was to save residents money, which is what we're trying to do, and waiting 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it takes for things to get where we can be better than Duke's rate makes perfect sense.
Hopefully, more information to come at subsequent meetings. Looking at the personnel update, and I like to see this, where we have new hires in the fire department. Generally, it's resignations where we have some of our part-timers receiving, good for them, they're getting full-time jobs elsewhere, but obviously that hurts our staffing. So having new hires and part-time is good. So we do have the new hire of a part-time EMT firefighter of Thomas Houston, part-time EMT firefighter of Trevor Myers, part-time EMT firefighter Richard Sanders, part-time medic firefighter Hunter Perrone, and part-time EMT firefighter Alex Weber. No other activity in any other departments, so that concludes the personnel update, and now I'll turn it over to Kim for community events programs.
Thank you. I just wanted to announce that on April the 30th, there are several different activities going on with different departments in Springfield Township. On April the 30th, the Finneytown, they're organizing a neighborhood cleanup in Finneytown through the Neat Streets program. They're meeting at 8:45 a.m. On the corner of Winton and Galbraith, that shopping plaza, and cleaning until about noon. So they're looking actively for volunteers for that. People can just show up. Also, the Public Works Department is doing a tire recycle day on that same the same day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Public Works Department. So if residents have tires that they need to get rid of, they can take them down to Public Works during those times. And then the police department is participating in the National Drug Tag Pack Day at 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the police department. May 13th, Springfield Township is hosting a township job fair. So these are only businesses in Springfield Township. And that's going to be from 9 a.m. to noon back at the Community Arts Center. And then on May 21st, Arts Connect is hosting a new event. It's an artisan fair with 48 booth spaces, live entertainment all day long. And that goes from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the big grassy field between this building and the Arts Center. That's all I have.
Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. The board has copies of all the other departmental activity reports, and unless there are any questions of those, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. There are 4 resolutions before the board tonight for consideration. The first resolution for consideration is resolution number 30-2022, an emergency resolution to establish an opioid settlement special revenue fund number 2911. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded?
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 31-2022, declaring motor vehicles located on public or private property in Springfield Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, to be junk motor vehicles pursuant to RC 505.173, and ordering the removal of such vehicles pursuant to resolution number 80-2021 and RC 505.871. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Present?
Mr. Honalaw.
Aye.
Mr. Honalaw.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 32-2022, determining necessity for road improvements pursuant to RC 5573.01 on Fontainebleau Terrace, Peach Blossom Court, Peachtree Court, Marview Terrace, East Side Only, Buff Court, Blue Gate Drive, north side only, Balloon Drive, north side only, Beach Point Drive, Trafford Court, Tambark Court, north side only, Random Hill Road, Y-Mart Way, Riviera Place, Biloxi Drive, Westcott Road, Helmsley Way from Biloxi to Cul-de-sac only, Culpeper Court, Hudipole Lane, Overview Lane, Brightview Drive, New Brook Drive, Playtime Lane, and Gray Rick Drive, and authorizing statutory actions required for such improvements. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 33-2022, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township, and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 33-2022, declaring nuisances pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 505.87 at various listed properties within Springfield Township, and authorizing statutory actions necessary to abate the nuisances. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Well, seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
Next is resolution number 34-2022, establishing assessment for abatement of nuisance and certifying same to the Hamilton County Auditor. Do we have a motion?
Did we
So
just
moved.
do that one?
No.
Seconded.
Mr. Burning.
Aye.
Ms. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Honolo.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
All right, I think that concludes our resolutions. Do we have any old business? Is there any old business before the board this evening?
No, Miss Davis.
I do not have any this evening.
Is there any new business before the board? Mr. Honolo?
No, I'm not finding the page I was looking for. No, there's been a number of updates here in the township. I know we're working on an application with the Hamilton County Community Revitalization Grant. We're working on an application for a revitalization grant for site preparedness at the former Brentwood Bowl project. That'll be coming up the end of this month. Also, I guess in sort of updates, the Chick-fil-A project on Winton Road's moving forward. And there's going to be an application coming to the Zoning Commission. Is that correct, Mr. Gilbert?
Yeah, it's my understanding that they'll be submitting an application here soon.
Okay. All right. And that's about all for new this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Burning, do you have any new business? Okay, is there anyone in the audience? We've reached our citizen participation part of our agenda. So if there's anyone who would like to address the board, step to the podium here and state your name and your address, please.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Evelyn Minton. I live at 9534 Millbrook Drive. And I want to thank the board for the opportunity to make comments this evening. I'm here to address my neighbor property at 9528 Millbrook Drive. This is a property that's owned by Montgomery Homes LLC, subsidiary of Divvy Homes. It's in a rent-to-own status, and I want to talk a little bit about it. The first thing, though, I want to do is I want to recognize township employees who've been helping the neighbors address several code violations and issues with the property since it has rent-to-own tenants in it. I'd like to recognize Officer Lemedicki. He's helped us. Kathleen Kennedy has helped us, and Greg Radziwan. So please know that they've done a superb job in aiding the residents of the township, and we appreciate everything they've done. The second thing I want to do is I want to let the trustees know that I understand there is a due process. I think tenants have rights, and they should follow a due process. The actual home has been in such a state of neglect and disrepair over the winter, people have stopped me and asked me if the home was abandoned. So there were code violations like a downed tree that sat in the yard forever, junk cars in the driveway for months and months and months, holiday decorations littering the front lawn. I called them cadavers. They were the Christmas cadavers. There's still one cadaver on the property. It's on the roof. I think it's Santa. But I'm interested in preserving the property values and the quality of Springfield Township and the board's reputation. Our family and friends that visit us ask us, what is the board doing about it? So I want you to know that I understand the process takes time, but my last point is I want to encourage the board to take decisive and definitive action every time the opportunity presents itself. So that's my request to you. We appreciate the good work you've done. We know we're on the same side. We want to keep the value of the township high so we can attract things like the Tri-Health investment in the township and families to our wonderful, diverse community. So those are my comments, unless you have any questions for me.
I guess my question is, what is the biggest, I pulled it up on the Hamilton County Auditor's website here. It looks like a two-story brick
Yes.
home, two-car garage, it looks like. What are the biggest things that are I guess, biggest objectionable things that are transpired? I mean,
Junk
the picture looks nice.
Yeah, I drove
Yeah.
by today, next door. Junk cars sit in the driveway, came in on a tow truck, deposited there. Greg Radzawan confirmed that they were not licensed property, flat tire on one of the cars. One of the cars has since moved.
Yeah, I don't know if you said it was the I-9.
Yeah.
Expired license plates.
Expired license plates, a 300-gallon commercial tank sitting in front of the driveway for months, a downed tree, very, very large downed tree that, since when? Since the fall, littering the backyard.
Are these current issues or these things that have been since resolved?
They're not fully resolved.
Okay.
They're in progress.
Okay.
And I believe there are open cases. That's one of the things, we can't, as residents, we can't see the progress of the open cases.
Sure.
That's why I wanted to acknowledge to you, we know there's a process, we know things are moving along, but we can't see where they stand. We can
Right.
only see when the tenant or the rent-to-own company cleans up the property. So I've seen progress, they're not fully resolved.
Okay.
The rent-to-own property doesn't respond to us either, right?
Yeah, the rent-to-own is slow to respond. I've communicated with them even today, and they affirmed for me that they are working with the tenant. And I said, I can't see that. I can only see whether the junk cars get moved. I can only see whether the downed fence is repaired. I can only see whether the littering stuff, the tree in the backyard is removed. That's all I can see. I can't see them communicating with the tenant.
So first of all, I'd like to thank you for coming tonight. This is the first that I'm hearing about the specific issues that address. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but do we have an update? Do we know a status of what's going on with that property?
Yes, Trustee Dukes Davis. We do have two current open violations on the property, the rear yard fence that was mentioned earlier by Ms. Minton and the fallen tree. It looks like we have, I'm just looking at our database right now, it looks like we have been in communication with the tenants who have told us that they will be cleaning up the fallen branches by the 15th, so today's the 12th, by the 15th. It looks like the junk car was closed because the tenants brought the vehicles into compliance, and that they've told our code enforcement officers that they're going to be making repairs to the rear yard fence. So
Did they give it a timeline for that?
the rear yard fence, this note was posted last week. He didn't say when that they were gonna make the repairs, but they plan on replacing the fence this summer. So it is on our radar.
What about the 300-gallon tank?
That's been moved into the bed of the truck that the tenants have. So it comes and goes when the truck comes and goes.
And that's at the truck stays as parked out,
Not
or it's in the
always.
garage?
Not always.
They work odd hours. They leave about 10, 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and they don't come home till 10 o'clock. And then they walk their 3 or 4 dogs that they have, and they leave the poop right by the mailbox. They don't even bother to throw it away. It's in a bag, but he just picks it up and takes the dogs the next night with the bag. It's like,
I wasn't going to mention the dog feces because they leave it at their mailbox. It's their mailbox, I suppose they're allowed to do that. I don't know. And I hate to trouble the township with all the little things. But, I mean, we care about the neighborhood.
Trouble, yeah, it's
Sure,
no trouble
sure.
at all.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we'll do everything we can.
Yeah, I encourage you to take swift, decisive action.
And we
at
absolutely
every
will.
opportunity.
So the issues that Ms. Kennedy just stated that were in progress of being remedied, are there any other issues that we need to be
We live on
brought
either
to?
side of the home.
you said the fence?
Yes, the fence was in progress. They're going to be building a fence, but they have not done anything.
The township came with a lift, a big thing, and took all the big pieces of wood out of their backyard for them. I don't know if you guys charge them for that.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
And there's still stuff left in the yard.
Yeah, there's remaining, very, very large pieces of wood were removed recently, and there's still small stuff remaining in the back. I mean, so it's in progress, but how long that will take.
They say the 15th they'd have that done, Kathleen? They told us the 15th of April they would, whether they'll do it or not, that's what they
We'll
told us.
find out. I wanted to let the board know, we'll be in touch if they don't.
Yeah.
That'd be great, thank
We
you.
do appreciate you coming in and making us, everyone aware,
Yeah.
so that we can follow up and make sure that they continue to get to the point where they're a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Is-
But one thing I can say, and with 100% confidence, if you've spoken with any of these people here, any of our staff, they're going to remedy the issue within the full confines of the law, what we can do as a township. So I don't have any doubt that they will do exactly what they can do, they're able to do.
Appreciate that. Appreciate it.
So
Thank you.
don't ever hesitate to call any of these guys, or don't ever hesitate to come here.
You may
Or call us. You can
Yeah,
call
or
the
call us. We
trustees
have-
or me or anybody.
Yeah, or our email addresses are on the township's website, so feel free to email us.
Well, Greg, Kathleen, and Officer Medic, you've been great.
They're fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to address the board this evening? Please step to the podium and state your name and your address for the record, please. Hello.
Hello.
Tara Penrod, and its address is 1 Caldwell. This is my husband, Roy.
What is it, one?
1 Caldwell. And then this is Kathy Bear. She's at 4 Caldwell. And you guys know.
Mr. Trebek, hello.
So our issue is Kickback Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
Our issue is Kickbacks Bar Grill. We have their patrons parking in our driveways constantly. We've put up tow signs. They still park there. We put out cones. They move them and park there. They throw their trash down everywhere and expect us all to clean it up. The owner of the bar has said to us, call us and we will resolve the issues. We've sent messages. We get nothing back in return. So we're just up here trying to figure out what we can do to keep them from parking in our yards. We've got pictures where they've parked in our other neighbor's yard and got stuck in the mud and flung mud all up on their windows. It's just getting to be a lot for us all to handle.
And they literally will park in the street on the outside of where we park our cars.
They brought fire hydrants.
I don't understand, where that children in the neighborhood see out the window
We hear loud music constantly.
until 3, 2, 3.
They're out there hollering and fighting with each other.
Is this every night
Well,
or
it's,
certain nights?
It's pretty easy, like,
Monday,
to
Tuesday,
maintain. It's not as busy on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, but Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, it's a nightmare on our street, and our streets surrounding us.
Yeah. We've got more neighbors that are, they weren't able to make it in here today. So
That's fine.
Voice of reason died.
What's the bar's name?
Kickback.
Kickback. We've had complaints about them before.
Yeah.
This place, does it have a parking lot?
It has a very limited parking lot. in
That's
the
what I
rear
thought.
building, But I guess they block that off so people don't get blocked in.
But it's okay for them to block us in our driveways.
Yeah, he's made the comment that the reason why he blocks them from going to his establishment, because they get blocked in. Okay, if you can fit 8 cars of your people into that parking lot, that's less that is bad on the community. We're not wanting the bar to shut down. We're all for a prosperous business. We're all for that. We just want them to understand, we're the ones living there. We're the ones having to deal with it. Mr. Torbeck is out there every Sunday with buckets, cleaning up. And he says, well, he's doing everything he can. We don't see him out there. We don't see him hiring somebody or one of his employees being there on Sundays to pick up the trash to help us to do any of the parts. So we're not against him being there. We're just against the establishment. And we know he doesn't have any realm of them, what they do when they leave the bar. We understand that as well. But what are you doing to talk to your establishment saying, look, you guys, there's trash cans out there. Mr. Torbeck's put them out there. They put them out there. They're out there to put the trash in. What is so hard about you putting the trash in the trash cans or not tearing up their yards and destroying their properties and peeing on their houses, their cars, standing out there? My daughter's 18. Hello, and it's just the point that it's disrespectful
Sure.
to us as living there. And like I said, it's not about them having not the place itself. It's what are you doing to help? You say you are, but what are you doing?
Chief,
Who is the owner?
I have no idea who it is.
Chief Blight, do you have any update on what you guys are?
We've worked with him in the past, and I know we've had some issues with him, and he does. He says, like, after the bar, he'll have some of his employees go out there and try to police the area for litter, which, obviously it's not happening. But, I mean, definitely, if there's parking violations down there on the street, that's easy for us to come down there and be able to ticket and tow and be able to deal with that.
Blocking the fire hydrant, they're
Yeah.
blocking the fire hydrant. And I know there's not a sign there at the fire hydrant, but hello, you are a driver, you know to look for those things, you know if it's there, you don't park there, period. And if the fire was to break out there, the fire truck would literally be in the middle of the street because there's nowhere to go. Because cars are, we have to park in our driveway.
Yeah, and I was down there Saturday night, and I saw Mr. Torbeck. You kind of have all your vehicles strategically placed just to keep them roadblocked out, so.
But why should we have to do that?
I understand. And I think, the private property stuff, I mean, we can't tow off your private property, but by all means, if they're parking in your driveway, just call a record service and have them removed.
They were told, well, they can't call and have them towed off, even if they have the sign there, because it belongs to Springfield Township.
Yeah, because it's within the easement of the road.
Yeah.
'Cause
Your driveway is?
Well, we only have one driveway, and we've got, I've got
There's 4 of us
a
that drive
19-year-old
our house.
daughter.
We have 4 cars.
Yeah, we have 4 vehicles, and they don't all fit in the driveway. So we actually park, we've been putting gravel there for years alongside the road.
Because you were told to.
Because we had some standing water, and, we had to alleviate the standing water.
But yet they can't get anybody towed, so that.
So they're parking in the right of way is what you're
Right.
saying?
Right.
Yeah, it's like they know.
And are they blocking your driveway by parking in the right of way?
Sometimes they do.
Then we can move the vehicle out of the right of way if it's blocking access to your property.
And that's us too, like, we leave on Fridays because we have a farm in Kentucky. We literally take our vehicles and park them this way in our driveway, because if not, my daughter has nowhere to park because she stays and goes to work on the weekend.
Right.
So it's disrupting our means of living, and I've been there for 32 years, and they've been there for a long time. And it's like, we have to do this every weekend. And we have to put the garbage cans out there. Well, we put the garbage cans out there so they won't park there, but they get out and move them and just park it's, you know, like I said, we're not out to be the bad guys. We're just trying to figure out what.
You just want to live in the home
Comfortably
that
in
you
your home.
have.
I mean, we're
No, I
trying to
get
make it the best we can of living there and being a beautiful place for us as families and our children, you know, and that's all we're asking.
Well, Chief, I don't know if we can do some direct patrol.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it more and come up with some strategies on that, on to get down there on the Fridays and Saturdays when they're busy down there, especially looking for the loud music when they're pulling up, you know, the disorderly conduct if they're, you know, urinating. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll be busy.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
because at 9, 10 o'clock, I mean, it looks busy, but it's nowhere near what it is 11.
yeah.
It looks like rush hour on 275.
And they're parked all the way down to Duke. I mean, it's all the way down that side. They're all the way up Bond Street. They're all the way on the next street over Laurel. I mean, it's packed. It is absolutely packed.
We'll put some strategies together. We can work with the fire department a little bit too on the occupancy and making sure that they're following the occupancy inside the building. And
At one time, there was a detail that would sit across the street from kickbacks. They were closed for about 9 months during COVID, and they came back with a vengeance on New Year's Eve 2 years ago. And it was just total chaos. They had party buses dropping people off, blocking the street, and even there was some police officers that we had called because they were all over my place. And there was garbage all down the side on Caldwell Drive of the building, and the police officer standing there, and I said, look at all that trash. And he says, well, they come out and pick that up. I used to work at detail, and they would come out and clean that up. I said, you come back tomorrow morning.
we'll still be there.
It was still there. Nobody picks it up.
Yeah.
You know, there's garbage right in front of their building and in their parking lot that they don't pick up. So why in the world would they walk up down the street? He complains about me. I take 2 5-gallon buckets. I can fill them.
Right.
And after one night, Thursday night, Friday night, or Saturday night, I can fill those buckets with trash. And his comment is, we don't sell that stuff. That's not there on Monday morning when they're closed on Sunday. You can pick it up and put it in your pocket what's there on Monday morning.
Right.
The nights that they're open, I have buckets full of trash, bottles, cans, styrofoam containers, chicken bones, all of that, in front of their houses too. And I pick it up in the neighborhood.
He does.
And now, Duke, they used to park on that little side street that goes, it's called May Street, that goes back to where the country club used to be,
Yeah.
which is part of Duke. I just saw this sign, there's a sign on the stop sign that says Duke vehicles only parking beyond this point. That's new. I mean, you know, now all of a sudden, they're seeing it. They're still crashing in front of their place that they aren't picking up. And it's up and down side streets, it's on, and he complains and says, I pick it up everywhere. I said, I pick it up where your clientele park.
Well, I know he did stop the off-duty detail officer down there. There were some issues that we were discussing with him, same type things that he wanted us to do, things that we didn't feel comfortable to be able to do that. So I'll definitely make sure that we get some strategy going on down there, and now that it's starting to kick back up after the COVID is released and everybody's getting back there, so.
Positive on that too. I think the safety or the traffic officer, is it Medici?
Medici, yeah.
Yeah, he was very, very obliging because they race up Caldwell Drive.
Yeah.
Right past their houses. They make that corner at my shop, and you can just hear them hit the passing gear and roar up the street. And I got in touch with him about 2 weeks ago, and he did put up a speed sign
Yeah.
up the street. So, you know, he's, was very appreciative, very helpful, someone, you know, at least he can see what's
Yep.
going on.
Yeah, and that'll do a survey for us exactly on what time of the day that they're actually doing it, so it'll show us when they're doing it, so.
And there's a lady that bought that house on Stopper, Kelly Brown is her name. And after she bought that house the first weekend, she said, oh my God, if I had known. Because they parked past her house, back in the grass, loud music, partying, drinking,
Yeah.
you know, in the same way. When we've told all of these people numerous times, call police.
Yep.
I don't want to call the police.
Yeah.
If you don't call, and I don't know how many phone calls you get, and how short-handed you may be at night on the weekend,
Right.
you know, so I know we're not the only people
Yeah,
calling.
and that's what I tell them. I
No, we haven't gotten a lot of phone calls about it. I mean, we'll get them after the fact, but now that we know, I mean, we'll make sure we get some strategies to go down there to address the problems that we can right off the bat, the parking, the loud music.
And I have to say, Springfield Township, I used to pick up Staber and that empty lot there. I stopped. And I requested that Springfield Township do it.
Yeah.
I said, if that's all help I can get, then you can clean it up. And they do, but there's a bunch down there right now. But there's a couple guys that stop once or twice a week. There's a garbage can right there. I told the barometer, EB, at one time, he says, what do you want me to do? I said, put garbage cans out there. Tell these people not to ruin the neighborhood. I said, if you put out garbage, space them out. He says, well, what do you want me to do with them? I said, dump them in your dumpster. Get a two-wheel cart and roll them around the back. And it's always full. It's always overfull. They get empty 3 or 4 times a week. And it's in the way. Their parking is 10 or 12, maybe 15 if they cram them in there.
Yeah.
And then they block it off. I think they may use part of it. I'm just
And that's the comment I made too, and I was like, I understand, you don't want them in your establishment to get blocked in, but they're blocking us in. And so you're not helping in the matter, that's not helping.
I think he might use it for VIP parking.
Probably.
Special treatment for special.
Well, we'll work with the police department to do some direct patrols. I know we've dealt with this issue in the past,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's like fighting a battle with the left hand tied behind your back, but we're given, the ability we can do legally, but we will do everything within our legal means to curtail some of these issues.
Laura, one of the things I'm thinking about is their liquor permit comes up for renewal in June. I think a lot of them come up on June 1st.
The problem that we have is just kind of what he is saying. It's not, some of the stuff that's going on is not on his property. The patrons are coming and they're making a nuisance to the rest of the community, but when the liquor license really get into play, it's really what's going on that property. It's really hard to tie the circumstantial into the stuff that's going on outside of the community. Now, you can do that if we've got a lot of problems on that property, which we haven't been getting a lot of calls down there for fights and stuff like that, but it's definitely, we have not been. But we've definitely, obviously, it's very visible of the amount of people that are down there, so.
Well, if people,
That's what I've heard, because I thought too, occupancy, because the number of vehicles, and they line up 2 or 3 rows of people.
Yeah, it's not that big of a place.
what, do they sit in their cars and drink and
Yes.
party? See, they shouldn't be, they're not allowed to do that, are they, Chief?
Yes.
No, okay, so just a police presence would make a difference.
Yeah.
Where there's the folks seeing them have sex in the cars and just being watching, just crazy.
Outside of the vehicles, and urinating on buildings and cars.
And that's what standing outside, just being and going on about it like it's just okay.
Well, let me say this, when you talk to the neighbors about this and they don't want to get the police involved, it is very difficult to have a liquor license removed. We've been involved in numerous cases, but we need all of this information to be documented because that's the type of thing that builds our
And
case.
that's why I said, I've got the
So-
pictures of the house where they just, they got in their vehicle and I don't know if they were drunk or what it was doing that night. It was it was raining and they missed the whole driveway and went into their yard and literally there's mud all up the side.
The problem is we need to have those
What
reports.
this
Yeah, I mean,
neighbor's saying is, once they do have an incident down there, if we've also have that evidence of, hey, we've got so many calls for service down there on this property or because of this property, that way if we get called maybe to for Caldwell, we can put in our report it was a result of the bar that was there, not because of something that happened at 4
I
Caldwell.
mean, we've done 5 of these hearings before, and it's very difficult. We come in with binders this thick of incidents, so, and we don't always
And these are
win.
ones where there's been shootings and
Shootings,
stabbings,
stabbing.
and sometimes the liquor control still doesn't shut it down.
Close the bar. We're not against them having it there. We're just wanting them to adjust to say, hey, look, okay, it is our patrons, and we'll do the best we can to talk to them, to open up our back parking lot, to be out there on Sundays to help you pick up trash. Like I told, he made the comment, well, it's not all our trash. Okay, but you're saying it's not half your trash either. Where are you on Sundays to help pick it up? Where is somebody from your establishment helping to fix the problem? And that's what we're mostly saying.
Well, I will tell you, the
The
one thing
liquor-
they care about is their liquor license,
The
so,
liquor license
They
will
need-
get their attention.
yes. So you need to have the people help us build the sufficient file to at least bring it forward. Because even if we don't win the case, they also have to attend a hearing. They have to attend a hearing with an attorney. So they have to put out money to have an attorney show up at the hearing. They're not cheap. We do it on our side. So just have people call us because we need the police file to have that. So just tell people, I mean, it may or may not result in anything right there, but at least we'll have the
You're not
report.
bugging us. I mean, it might seem
Yes.
minor, but you're not bugging us. The more we can get, the better ammunition we have to fight that battle.
And we don't want it to be that, but if it has to be, it has to be. So,
Yeah.
Is there like a third person we need to email pictures to, or?
They just need to call them when it happens.
We,
So
we,
the
we,
police can
we
respond.
need to witness it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Just like if it was an accident.
Yes.
Yes.
the police, yes.
What's it cost for a detail?
Yeah, I mean, he was paying, I think the off-duty rate's like $45 an hour, and that's what he was paying prior to the COVID, and then everybody kind of stopped doing that. And I think he had one or two officers down there on the weekends.
Yes, it would be two in the car sitting across the street.
Yeah.
I said, they didn't do litter, they didn't do parking, they didn't do, unless there was a fire or something.
Yeah, I mean, off-duty bar details, there are some concerns we have liability-wise as far as the police department and the township goes, and those things are, so usually when they're working well with us and doing what we recommend, we're sometimes all right with doing that, but sometimes when they don't.
Sometimes if there's a presence, if they happen to just drive by there periodically.
That's what I was saying, let us put some strategy together now that it's heating back up, and
I hate to bug you again.
that's all right. You're not.
There's nothing wrong, that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
But it's like, I feel like I'm going to a record that's just about the stuff.
But that's the only way we're gonna resolve it.
I know.
So Chief, is there a way that you can communicate with residents once you get the strategy together and just the outcomes?
Yeah, we'll get together.
I want to make sure that they're in the know, they are apprised of whatever strategies you decide that are best to help
Get with
their
you,
issue
kinda-
there.
to kinda show you
I
the
just
progress.
want that line of communication to remain, so they won't have to come here. You're always welcome to come here, but a lot of again, like I said, staff is fantastic. A lot of your issues can be
And that's what I was
handled and
saying,
addressed with.
unless we go and talk, that
Yeah,
nobody knows.
right,
We have this
right.
thing up, we might as well just be quiet.
Right. So you're welcome here anytime, but if you just stay in contact with Chief Bly, and I'm confident that, hopefully you'll see some,
Quick result.
Might not fix the problem,
Yeah.
but at least see some
at least you'll
improvement.
know, lines of communication will be open. Yeah,
If you happen to be out late at night on a Friday or Saturday night, drive by.
yeah. I may just do that.
It's a
Mike
show.
Poole, I think Mike.
Yes.
He had to come down there one time because they put some big rocks in that, by the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And somebody tried to drive over him and drug it out in the street. And he said that he got called because he had to get it out of the street or because of that. And he said he was down there about 1 o'clock in the morning, and he said, oh my God. He said, that's just horrible. So, it's different, we can talk about it, we get you pictures, we can talk about it, drive by. Drive by.
We'll get down there, we'll give it some attention.
Yeah, the police drive by it a few times, it'll straighten a lot of it up.
Yeah, well, that's it, if the police drive by,
Yeah.
the police knows.
Yeah,
We have.
Stop at a few cars and say, what are you doing here? That,
right.
Yeah,
Party,
right,
hanging out
right,
there,
right.
partying,
it's illegal, you can't do that on the street.
Yeah.
Unless you have a door cup,
Yeah, and all the liquor bottles we find.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Usually there's a swallow left in them, we try to share that.
That was pre-COVID.
While you're cleaning up,
Pre-COVID.
you share the bottle.
Well,
Thanks for coming out. We
I'm so
appreciate
sorry that you all have to deal with that, at the end of the day, and I understand your point that you're not trying to get the business shut down or anything, but it's just that they're your neighbors, and they're not being very neighborly. So I'm sorry that you all are having to go through that, but Chief Bly will get something together for you. All right.
Excuse me, when we call the police about the parking, they come down and they look, and they do nothing.
Okay, well, that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah,
We're
if
having
it's,
this
and we told them, if it is,
Sidewalk, and it's clearly against the law.
Well, that's what's in it. They park across the street from the bar, bumper to bumper,
Well, if it's in the city, then obviously we can't enforce that.
But I called the city, I'm just saying, that's another problem.
Well, their tires are on the other side of the line, and they're in the street, and the cops
Okay.
will not do anything.
Well, we don't know, we call.
We will. We'll make sure we address it. I apologize that they're not getting to what you think, but we'll make sure we address it
And
with
we're
them.
not the only call you get on a Friday or Saturday. But we just want to
We'll work on
voice our concerns, and we'll keep an eye on it, and hopefully you will too.
Yep, we will.
Thanks, Dan.
We will.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
out.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Just in case there's not enough on your plate.
We got it.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board this evening? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Well, it appears that there's no one else who wants to address the board. So is there any other business before the board?
I have none. No,
Mr.
no.
Byrne? No? Okay. All right. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Our
Meeting's
meeting-
adjourned.
Thank you. Our meeting is now
Thank you all
adjourned.
for
Thank you all
coming.
for coming.